Hello again, everybody. This is Joe Larson and Chuck Schultz, and you're watching the 5 On Racing Show. Tonight, we're going to talk about the results at Martinsville, the Modifieds, the Xfinity, the Cup, World Series at the Thompson Motorsports Park, and some clarification for the next-gen car when we come back.
Inravio.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Martinsville.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Martinsville's always a fun time, but it's a short track, so guess what happens?
You know, it's two drag strips and a tight turn. That's why they call it the paperclip.
Yeah.
Yeah, all three series race day this past weekend. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour was there, along with the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. Now, when you think of that, and Martinsville has been around since 1948. And its first race was July 4th, 1948, and it had what they called the Modifieds, which was the Cup Series of today.
Right. Which is basically those cars, but modified to
Exactly.
a little bit.
They went to the car dealership in their local town. They picked out a car. They modified it.
Took the fenders off it.
Went racing.
That was it.
So the Modifieds are there, and the Modifieds always put on a good show there, even though they battled the rain a little bit. The winner, Eric Goodale. He was the winner there. It was a nice job by the Long Island driver. Tyler Remkema was second. Justin Bonsignor was third, followed by Max McLaughlin, Kyle Bonsignor fifth, Doug Colby sixth, Tommy Catalano seventh, Patrick Emmerling eighth, Woody Pitcat ninth, and the veteran Jamie Tomeno banging out a top 10. So nice job by all. And Jamie Tomeno has been on the tour since its inception in 1985, and then ran before that as well.
All the Northeast guys really were represented very well there.
Very well.
They all showed very, very good. You know, of course, Justin Bonsignor, he was a rocket right in the beginning there.
Oh, yeah, always.
And, you know, Ryan Peace started up front. So that was, you know, no doubt that was all, you know, they showed very well. But at the same token, you know.
You know, like Ryan Priest.
Now, I don't know what happened with Ryan Newman holding everybody up and creating a wreck. Of all guys, I thought, you know, he would either go or get out of the way. You know?
Yeah, it's funny, and I've watched him race there numerous times, and he's either a rocket ship or he's a bag of it.
But he gets out of the way. You know,
yes. Yeah. 7 cautions, some for a long period of time.
Yeah.
The longest one for rain, the rain delay. And we're going to talk about rain delays a bit later. But 35 cars started the event. And so it was a good showing of cars. It was about 5 or 6 that, for whatever reason, did not show up.
So next year, he'll do a modified enduro.
Oh,
There'll be 50 cars on the track.
50 cars on the track. And but that was their season opener. So it was, like I said, a very good show on the Modifieds. The Xfinity Series was there as well, and it took them 2 days to get their race in. Actually, 2 days.
Yeah.
Josh Berry was the winner there. Noah Gragson was second. Daniel Hemrick third. Ty Gibbs was fourth. Brandon Jones fifth. Austin Cindric was sixth. Harrison Burton seventh. Justin Haley eighth. Justin Allgaier ninth. And Michael Annette, an Xfinity veteran, rounding out the top 10 there. Greg Golding and Joe Graff Jr. had a little scuffle after the race due to an on-track spin. You're seeing more and more of that. More and more of these guys, they want to get out of the car and they want to tussle.
They want to have at it.
They want to have at it. And there was a time where if drivers or crews got into that pushing and shoving and smacking and hitting, somebody wasn't racing next week or they were making a big donation.
That's what they need to do. They need to say, listen, you guys aren't racing next week.
And what's happening is the new corporate NASCAR people are, I don't want to say allowing it, but they're kind of
Turning a blind eye a little bit.
yeah, because
You think it's getting some extra press
They
and
need
getting
it.
people to watch?
absolutely.
I mean, thinking about that, what was it, 1976 race with the big first time it was ever televised, and they
Yeah.
had the big fight in the infield.
Donnie
made
Allison
it happen?
and Cale Yarborough.
I went to a stock car race and I went to a fight and a stock car race broke out.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. That's pretty much what it was. So, but you know this, and then he's on the racetrack, you know, and throws his water bottle at the other guy's car. I don't know what damage he was thinking of doing with a water bottle.
Right.
But for that, he'll probably make a donation.
The water bottle.
Yeah, for throwing the water bottle.
So that'll be like a $40,000 water bottle.
Yeah, if not more. If not more. The Cup Series is up Martinsville as well. The Cup Series, Martin Truex Jr. was the winner there. If you had watched this race, the last 20 laps, that was some race between Truex and Hamlin. Hamlin led 274 laps there. But Truex just kept dialing him in, tucking the nose under, pulling it back, tucking it. And when he had him, he went and then he checked out. And then as what happened with Hamlin was Chase Elliott, who finished second ultimately, passed Denny Hamlin in the closing laps. Denny Hamlin obviously third, William Byron fourth, Kyle Larson fifth, Joey Logano was sixth, Christopher Bell seventh, Tyler Reddick eighth, Kevin Harvick.
Easy.
Oh, Kevin Harvick ninth, and Kyle Busch rounding out the top 10.
Okay.
See what
Well,
it is?
thanks for coming tonight. We're out of here.
When a guy is in your head, he's in your head. So,
Uh-oh.
oh, yes. Truex started on the pole.
Oh, boy.
He is the first multi-winner in the series for the 2021 season. And their next race will be at Richmond, where they put on one heck of a show. That's one of the old tracks. None of these cookie cutter things. All the old tracks from the old days, they were all different. All different.
I say we put dirt and mud on everything.
Put dirt and mud on it. Or just build some dirt and mud tracks. That's what they should do. That's definitely what they should
There's
do.
plenty of dirt and mud tracks around. We can find.
Yeah, the Camping World Truck Series is off this week. They will be at Richmond with the Xfinity and the Cup cars next week. But we talked about the weather. The modified race had a red flag condition
Because of the weather.
towards the end because of rain. And then the Xfinity guys were supposed to run on Friday night. They had rain issues, and I guess the frustrating part as a fan, some of these people, they spend a lot of money to get there,
And
hotels
be
and
there.
whatnot.
Standing in the rain is tough.
Yeah, it's not a fun
Standing
thing.
in the rain is tough. That's for sure.
it's not.
But you know what? If you come in there, you got to figure that could be a possibility.
Right. And, and NASCAR is going to do the best they can to get the show in, which they did try. They kept trying to track, and they'd get it, and then it'd rain again, and they'd lose it. Then they'd see a window and try to track some more.
But then they didn't wait till Monday. They did do a double header on Sunday.
They did a doubleheader on Sunday, which was, the weather was in question then as well. But,
But you got to try.
you got to try, and that's basically what the entry blank says. It's, in the event of inclement weather, it's the next raceable day. And that's what it was going to be. And like I said, I feel sorry for the fans who, the race was supposed to be Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and everything ended up being Sunday with the Cup race ending, in the early evening Sunday. But people had flights home Sunday. People,
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you stay another
It's
night
tough.
at the hotel?
It's a tough
You
ball
got
to
to
wax.
get to work Monday.
I'm just envisioning rain ties on those modifieds.
Yeah. Well, they're testing them.
I'm not thinking it's going to work.
I don't think so either. But, you got to keep trying these things.
Yeah.
But you don't want to race in the rain because it's no fun. Look at Formula One. When Formula One's racing in the rain, it takes, nobody's watching. Nobody's in the stands.
Well, I know we talked about it before. I wonder what it would take, besides the lots of money, to put a roof on one of these things.
You know, it.
I mean, maybe a small one to try.
Right.
You know, something you can close up.
Yeah. Retractable. They have them in baseball. There's stadiums of baseball with retractable.
They got them in
roofs.
football.
Yeah.
Right?
It's worth a shot. And I think
I know it's a big spot, though. It's
the problem
bigger than a football field.
is, oh yeah, but the problem that I see is some of the tracks are not owned by NASCAR. Well, none of the tracks owned by NASCAR are the ones that people think NASCAR owns is owned by International Speedway Corp. And Bruton Smith, through Speedway Motorsports, owns most of the other car racetracks.
Right.
There's very few independents out there. I mean, so it's something that would be costly, be a boatload of money. And of course, that cost would be shared down to the fans.
I'm just wondering, what would that be as far as, is there a money loss for them if it's a rain out? You know, not a rain out, but they postpone. I wonder what the money changes are. You know what I mean? Would it be beneficial to them to make the extra money because they're losing money? People are going home early, or
I've
what do you do with that?
over my lifetime been to countless number of races at the higher echelon, the Cup, the Xfinity trucks, and the modifieds. And there have been times where it's been rained out, and the race is postponed and rescheduled to a day I can't go. Too bad, so sad.
I was at the Race of Champions. We were racing there. We were in the mud the whole time.
Yeah.
The rain in the mud the whole time. They finally canceled it, and I think that they put it off several months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we had to, and I think when they finally went to go back, I think they canceled it altogether, gave the money back. The last year that they did it up there at Flemington.
And Shane Bailey clarified something because I wasn't sure about this. 32 cars were the original grid, and Martinsville asked any car that was there to start. So that's it's Clay Campbell is that type of guy. He's a racer himself. He's a racer in the K&M Pro Series, and he's president of the Martinsville Speedway. And if you come to his racetrack, you're racing. That's just how it is. So that's good to hear. Thanks, Shane, for sharing that information with us. And Ken, Kenny Hyde Jr. is talking about, we have a good story about the brawl. We don't. There was a brawl.
There was a brawl. One guy pushed another guy down, and then they pulled the one guy off the other guy, and then the other guy went back after the other guy, and then they separated the two guys.
Separated, they got pulled off.
And that was it.
That was it. It was over.
That's what we got. That's the scoop.
Not like the Long Island brawls that there's 17 guys punching 18 people, and sometimes you're beating up your own crew guy because you're just swinging and throwing punches.
But I got to say, they both wearing their masks, so that was.
They did.
That was very. They did a right thing there.
They didn't practice their social distancing,
but they were wearing masks.
They had their masks.
They rolled around for a while.
Oh my goodness!
It was like two pigs trying to fight over a milk dud.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's all good. So, but the weather and like Danny Watts said with the modifieds when they were under that long rain delay. Danny Watts, a Long Island team owner in the modified tour, said, "I feel bad for the fans."
Because of the rain?
Because of the rain. What are you going to do? How long as a fan do you hold out? Because you're not getting your TV updates and there's just so much on social media. How long do you hold out as a fan in the rain? I went through that 2 years ago to Daytona in the August race where the race was the next day. Now, thank goodness for me, I was staying that entire week for other things. But when the rain hit, it hit. And then they got to dry, and then you saw a black wall, like it looks like there's a black curtain coming at you. It's rain, bam, it rained again. And I don't know how many hours I was there until they finally, said this race will be run tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
I was lucky. I had a place to stay. Like I said, I was going to be there a week. But there are some people that they don't have that
well,
luxury.
That's it. I mean, we were at Pocono. I mean, it looked like rain. We're like, it looks like rain. We're going to stay in the hauler. So we stayed in the truck. And we stayed in the truck until they announced that, okay, we're going to send Rusty Wallace out and check the track.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let's go up to the stands, So we went up to the stands, but not everybody's got that wherewithal to be able to go to the hauler and stay there,
Yeah. And I want to say hello to Trey Tomeno. He's the son of NASCAR Wheel and Modified veteran Jamie Tomeno. Great job, Trey. You guys did a great job. It's and I say this, Jamie Tomeno is one of those guys. Doesn't have the big sponsors, doesn't have a bunch of money to just keep throwing at people. But when he shows up at a racetrack, he's competitive. And he's been doing it a long time. It's funny, and he's saying that the fans stayed in the stands, they didn't move. Wow. His streak, and I don't know what the number is of consecutive modified tour events entered in a row, was ended on a technicality that got changed the following week. True story, and Trey could back me up on this one. It's Riverhead, and Jamie didn't make it in time. And there had to be 50 cars qualifying, and 0.2 of a second was the difference between pole and home. Jamie didn't make it in time. He should have gotten a past champions provisional. However, a former past champion who was a more recent past champion than Jamie, who did not race in the Tour, took that provisional. It was Wayne Anderson, and bumped Jamie out of it and ended his consecutive streak.
But don't they all get a past champions provisional?
But it's the most recent, and there's only one.
That's it?
Yep.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
that sucks.
Owner points, 2 in owner points, 2 in driver points, and 1 past champion. And the rule was changed like the following week, just in time to be too late for Jamie Tomeno. Otherwise, that streak would have been
that sucks twice.
a couple of hundred more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Trey's backing us up. Yes, Wayne Anderson got it because of the championship in 1994.
Right.
He was the most recent.
Champion.
So
Yeah,
they made it that you had to be a tour regular to get that. And that should have been an understanding. And it shouldn't have been the most recent, because I guess nobody thought that the most recent would not race for about 10 years and then show up at a track and say, oh, I'm the past champion. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Wayne didn't do anything wrong, folks. Don't get me wrong. Wayne Anderson.
It's just the way it was in the book at the time.
He played the rule the way it was meant to be played, and it kind of stunk. Yeah, so now, Trey, I'm glad you're on tonight, man. Just clarifying it. Now you need to run 5 races or more now in a season to be eligible for the past champions provisional. So Trey, I thank you for that. We're going to take a break, and we come back. We are going to talk about some news in the Whelen Modified Tour, the Cup Series, and the World Series at the Thompson Motorsports Park in Connecticut when we come back.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hey, what's I said was gonna say what's up for some reason. Hey, we're Set It Up, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
Hi there, this is Buddy from Less Than Jake, and you are listening to Inravio TV. You're probably watching it too.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. Hey, take virtual lessons with Village Music Shop's online university and be safe, have fun, play music. They have music lessons for all ages, styles, and levels from beginner to advanced, as well as classes to become a recording engineer, music production, and learning how to be a DJ. Village Music Shop's online university has got you covered. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or click on the link in the chat and sign up to get started today.
Very good. Thank you, Village Music Shop, for your support. All right. Some Whelen Modified news. Eric Goodale's fourth career victory last Thursday night at Martinsville came at the track where he made his first Whelen Modified start way back in 2008 when he was just 22 years old, and he finished 10th. And I remember that race. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I drove the pace car in that race. I'm not sure if it was that one or 2009, but his brother, Kevin Goodale, was also a Riverhead Building Supply competitor at the time. And it just seemed like after that, Eric just became like a contender, and his brother Kevin kind of stepped back and took a more of a family business approach to life at that time. Because it was almost like Kevin wasn't there anymore, and it was running the family business down here on Long Island and in other places. So anyway, so that's nice. So
That was good to see them up front. It really was.
always, and immaculately prepared equipment. And on the tour, there are people who don't have immaculately prepared equipment, but when Eric Goodale unloads off the hauler, you know he's one of the guys to beat. He's going to battle. He only has 4 wins in his 13-year career, but he's always right up there battling and battling. So,
Well, Martinsville's a good win to have.
oh yeah, and he got the clock.
There you go.
He got the clock. Not a lot of people have the clock, so congratulations again, Eric, on that. It was, like I had said this earlier, when NASCAR first started and they called the cars modifieds. And I alluded to it earlier. A driver made a deal with the local car dealership in his neighborhood, his town, or city. Bought the car for, back then you could buy a brand new car for next to nothing. And there's a story about the Ned Jarrett, gentleman Ned. He bought a car,
Drove it to the track.
drove it to the track, but he wrote the check on Friday night for the car. He wrote a check, and he knew he
Had to win.
had to win on Sunday.
For the check to
so
clear.
The check would clear. So, and that's what they did. They took these cars off the showroom floor. They modified them a bit. If you look at old footage, you'll see drivers making a pit stop, getting their cup of water, having their cigarette, and they're rolling the windows back as they drive away. So it's that they were called modifieds because they modified a stock car. And then modifieds over the years became more intricate, and the original modifieds became...
Well, the modifications became more.
Right, and they
Because it
became
never
more-
goes away. You
Right.
just add more, you add more, you add more. It's like, hey, this would make it easier for us.
And they
Hey,
became
that's what
brand national cars.
Like every car. I mean, even you start out with a strictly stock. Before you know it, they're adding this, they're adding that, they're adding this, and you don't have a strictly stock anymore.
No, you don't. Only at local weekly racetracks, and even those guys, some of them have gotten out of hand.
But Eric's got 2 big wins, Bristol and Martinsville.
Yeah, 2 in Martinsville.
That's pretty
Or
cool.
2 of Bristol. So what does he say here?
He likes the big speedways.
Well, it's, and I'm going to say this, but some people may disagree. When you run a half mile and up at your weekly racing series track, you're honing skills, but they're fast skills. You run a Riverhead or Monadnock, if you could be competitive at those kind of bull rings that have 300-foot straightaways and drive off the racetrack, sometimes that's like a win.
Oh yeah. If you could take the car home, man, it's a win. Absolutely.
And I've said that, if you could run a short track real good, you could run anywhere. And I remember the first time I ran Stafford in a modified, I was a Riverhead guy, quarter mile. That's the biggest I ever drove on. And I remember coming off the corner, and I could look in the grandstands. Not that I was staring in the grand, but I could look. You come off the corner of Riverhead,
There's no looking.
there's 3 seconds at the end. You're on the break.
It's a blur. I remember the first time I ran Thompson from Riverhead, and I was like, I could eat a sandwich going down the straightaway there.
Right?
And I'm doing over 100 miles an hour, and I'm going down the straightaway, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking around, what's going on? Hey, check the mirrors a little bit. Hey.
And because there's cars with you, you don't feel the speed. It's when you pass somebody that's stopped, or you go.
And then you feel it.
The flag stand, and it's. Then you realize how fast you're.
Yeah.
And Charlie Pastrak told that to me. He goes, Listen, when you get on these bigger tracks and you're going, don't look left, don't look right. Keep your eyes moving because you won't sense the speed because you're going the same speed as everybody around you, hopefully. You know, Charlie
Hopefully.
yeah. He had to add that hopefully. I don't know what he was alluding to, but.
He was alluding to the guy that spun in front of you, and that was going the other way.
Yeah, that was going the other way. So, but you know, when you look at Martinsville, the list of winners at Martinsville is like a who's who of modified legends. Ray Hendrick had 9 wins there. Bugsy Stevens had 6. Richie Evans 9. And you look at that, and then you have Mike Stefanik and Jeff Fuller and the Reggie Ruggiero with 3 victories there. You know, Cup driver Ryan Preece earned his first win at Martinsville in 2009. It's incredible. Bobby Santos has some wins there. It's a who's who. Martinsville is, and I watched the documentary over the weekend, and it was the original owner of Martinsville, Earl Campbell, and he made a comment. He goes, I was one of the first NASCAR trucks. And as the big tracks came, I was still here. As the big tracks got bigger, I was still here. He goes, and I'm gonna be here when the big tracks are gone. Now when you think about what he said, you look back. After Talladega, in Michigan, there were no big tracks built anymore. There were 1.5 mile cookie cutters, Kansas, Texas, Chicagoland. They're cookie cutters. They all looked exactly the same. You know, not like when they built racetracks because the property was a certain size, and to get your grandstands there, you had a certain amount of room. And you look at
Depending on how many people you're going to put in there, you had to make the track a certain size.
You had to make it a certain size.
But you know what? Because of what they did between the smaller tracks like a Martinsville, or the bigger tracks that are 2.5 miles, they realized that the sweet spot's 1.5 miles because these guys, the Cup guys, don't get me wrong, they're the best, the highest division, and they're supposed to be the best. But you put them on small tracks, and a lot of them are not used to that.
They're not used to that.
They're not used to that. They're not used to that.
Yeah.
That car on a small track, it's a culture shock.
Yeah.
So the sweet spot for those cars is like 1.5 mile track.
A
2.5 mile track, it's a piece of paper in the wind if you get sideways.
Right.
So, and there's no, as far as the fan goes, you're sitting there watching, okay, they're in a line. All right, maybe there's 2 lines, 2 packs.
Right.
There's really not a lot going on. But you put them on 1.5 miles, then there's a lot going on. And they're not, like what happened at Martinsville with the modifieds where they piled up 30 cars.
Yeah, I mean, and even the Cup guys, they lost 15 cars in that one lane
In one
race,
shot, yeah.
on the backstretch. But a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to do the Richie Petty driving experience at Daytona, and we had to go to a driver's meeting, and we had to be all told what to do and what not to do. And somebody said, and I knew the answer, but I was going to keep it quiet. Somebody goes, bless you, where do you lift? The guy says, and the guy running the driver's meeting says, you don't
lift.
You don't lift. And the guy's looking at him. Now, and you don't. You just don't. And the cars are perfectly set up, and they're only meant to go a certain speed.
So it's almost impossible if you to spin that out at that speed.
I mean, you could if you were herky-jerky, but I made it to 170 miles an hour, and I'm thinking, once I got up to speed, and I'm on the backstretch, I'm ready. It's good. I'm going down the backstretch like this. I'm like, holy. It was so bumpy. It was like incredible. And then I had an opportunity to draft with somebody. Now, everything's flapping, the window net's flapping, the hood, the wires, and you hear the loudness and the sound of the motor. And then I caught the draft, and all of a sudden the hood was like,
everything stops.
The window net wasn't moving. There was like no sound. And I didn't want to drive into the guy, so I backed off, and we went faster. what a feeling that was. I wish I could have did that a few more laps because that was fun. And, you know, and I looked up later on that when you're going into the corners at Daytona, you're at 3 Gs. So, and for those who don't know that, at 3 Gs, it's 3 times your body weight is what you feel. So here I was, you know, 200 pounds, so 600 pounds is throwing me into the seat.
3 times my body weight. That's like a Charger or a Riverhead.
So
29.50.
Now the next morning, now I didn't see my video yet. So the next morning, I go to get out of bed and I can't. I hurt. I felt like I got beat up.
And you only did how many laps?
I did 8. I did 8 laps. So imagine doing 200. So you got to be in shape. So I put the video in. I'm looking at it, and there I am on the back stretch like that. I'm in the corners like this. I hurt. Chuck, my toes hurt. My neck hurt. Everything hurt. So whoever says race car drivers aren't athletes, think again. Think again because they are. They are athletes, and they take a beating. They do take a beating. Yes, Cup news. What do you got Cup going on? Travis Mack was ejected from the facility in Martinsville before the race. Mack, the crew chief of the 99 car driven by Daniel Suarez. The infraction, added ballast outside the approved container. Now, how do you think that's not going to get caught? And for those who don't know, ballast is the weight. And they don't use lead in this series, they use tungsten. So could you sneak a piece somewhere? I mean, yeah, I mean, a piece of tungsten that's like this size weighs a lot. Trust me, and Mr. Visconti gave me that lesson one time when I was in his shop. And what makes him think he's gonna get away with that? Now, what it cost them is the driver who qualified 11th had to start last, and they would dock 10 driver points and 10 owner points. And the crew chief was sent out. Tomorrow, when they have their competition meeting, they will decide how much of a fine Travis Mack will get for that infraction. It'll probably be around $50,000.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they don't like that stuff. And they're cracking down on a lot of those things where you made weight, you fit the template, you're good. But they're looking for these other things now, and they're looking for things that, and people, I'm sure there's other teams that did the same exact thing, and when they, you know, why does he have his backpack and all his stuff, and he's leaving? He got thrown out. They found, you know, guys are crawling under their cars fixing it. You know that's what's going on. So, yeah. Well, and insider news, and I'm not going to say who said it, but somebody at that race team was fired.
Right.
Wow. You know, that's a wow. Oof. You know, you lose your job over something like that. But, you know, that's, you know, with the cost and with your sponsors. And,
So wasn't an approved modification?
No.
From the company?
No, it was not. So, anyway, we're going to take a break, and we come back. We're going to talk about the winners at the Thompson Motorsports Park annual World Series. Icebreaker. World Series is until the end of the year.
Right.
The Icebreaker. And I want to share a story about a crew member, fabricator, who made some changes. They got caught, fined, lost points and everything. And we'll talk about what his results are when we come back.
Hey guys, this is Jibs from Ocean's 8 Alaska, and you're watching Inravio TV Network.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Hi, I'm Remington. I'm Emerson.
And I'm Sebastian.
We're Palais Royale, and you're watching Inravio TV.
There we go. Hey, this is Chris Less Jake, and if Inravio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
Hi, this is Mike Jarecki from My Race News, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
Hey, welcome back. You know, during the breaks, I get to scroll through and see what people are saying, and when my buddy Mike Buxka, a.k.a. Gravel, he says he never brought a car home straight from Riverhead. And for those who don't know...
That's because he does demolition derbies.
He does demolition derbies.
But you brought the car home. You didn't leave it there.
It didn't. Only once. I remember once he left the car there, but it wasn't his fault. And that's because of I think it was WPIX was doing a show there, and they needed a car to wreck, and they wrecked his. Yeah, that wasn't a good time. But yeah, I believe he's a three-time, and he'll correct me, three-time world champion demolition derby guy.
Oh, yeah.
And that was back when demolition derbies were demolition derbies. You know, 100 cars, and, you know, he used to travel all over. So, you know, Gravel, always a good guy, always good to share a story with. But, you know, I wanted to tell you about, you know, an old friend of mine, Tom Ryan, when he was first with Hendrick Motorsports on the Terry Labonte car. Very innovative, very innovative. And there's two things that I can share here. And one was...
He was sponsored by Jack Daniels?
No, oh man. He made lug nuts that went on quicker. It was a different thread. They went on quicker. Now, if you could save a second on a pit stop, that's a half a straightaway on the bigger tracks. So because of that, they got caught. And they were fined, lost points a little bit. And on Monday or Tuesday of that week, Mr. Hendrick called down to the shop, sent Tom Ryan to my office. So Tom goes in his office and he says, why did you do that? There was nothing in the rules that said you couldn't. And I thought it would give us an advantage in the pits. Hendrick said, nice job. I like guys that are innovative, but, you know, just be careful. Then in the same season, they realized that the fuel cell had to be a certain height from the ground. Now, it didn't say where, so what he did is he modified the fuel cell setup on all the Hendrick cars. I got caught by NASCAR. That's not approved. And Hendrick was fighting NASCAR with it and lost the battle. Mr. Ryan was brought into the office once again, this time for sure. He was ready to pack his tools and just go home. And Rick Hendrick said to him, I wish I had more people that were innovative and stepped out of the box to help us win. Now, the rule was changed subsequently right after that because...
To cover the gray areas.
Tommy was right. But NASCAR, at the end, when they go through the book, it's at the discretion of the official in charge.
Well, he was always good at reading between the lines.
Oh, my God.
Even at the local track at Riverhead, he read between the lines, and I'll tell you what, if there was not something in the rules, he was going to find it, and he was going to jump on it.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, and his cars, the cars that he built here in Long Island.
75% left side weight. You couldn't double hook the things, they would just spin. You had to have four guys on a roll bar. Yeah. Or else the things they would spin, they would roll.
Because there was
no way you could double hook them.
That said what it had to be.
They would rather you drag that car off the track than double hook it because they knew it was going to happen. As soon as you double hooked it, everybody knew.
You know, and I'll tell you, he drove my car a couple of times back in the 80s, but, you know, anytime I needed something fixed, he would I go up to him, Tom, and I'd say, bring it to the shop tomorrow. That's just how he'd say it. And when is it going to be done? When it's done. Okay. So you'd go there, it's Friday night, you're racing Saturday, and there he was with the stick welder. Got the stick welder going.
Bottle of Jack in the other hand.
And I'm like, the guy's drinking Jack while he's fixing my car. Everybody said, don't worry about it. It'll be better than ever. And I'll tell you what, and then I tried to buy one of his cars, and somebody else got it before I did, because I figured if you put that much detail in fixing people's cars, his car had to be the best. And he was one of the top runners, and it was good to see a local guy go down south, down to Daytona. And
he borrowed a car from somebody because the car he had wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
And he borrowed a car from somebody, went down there. And I remember that the first year he was with Hendrick, he made a change in the wind tunnel. At the end, they had some extra time left at the wind tunnel. And he says, "Can I do something to the fender?" And he's like, "All right, go ahead, we got time." So they did something to the fender, and it made the car faster.
Yeah.
That was the year Terry Labonte won the championship.
That's
and he got a personal check from Terry Labonte for like $40,000 or something, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Boom, here it is.
There you go. And and for those
But he was the kind of guy that he definitely, if there were trees, it didn't matter, because that Jack Daniels was getting him past that forest, and whatever it was he was looking at, it was good.
And it was, and he had really long hair back in the 80s. He had really long hair, and he cut his hair really to you and me, it'd still be long.
But to him, it was short.
But it was really short.
For the interview. And we're like, who the hell is this guy?
And he went down and he saw Rusty Wallace. And Rusty Wallace goes, man, because Bob O'Rourke, who was the
set a deal up.
Yeah, who was the and
I don't even think it was Rusty. Didn't he see Brett Bodine first or something?
We saw Brett Bodine first.
And Brett Bodine asked him a question about a modified. So with a modified, if I do this, blah, 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 and he said something like, can't say here, you're a and because you do that, the car's going to go right into the wall.
Yeah.
And he says, wait here. And he got up, he walked out, he comes back, he goes, here's a name and an address. Go here, because you'll be here for a day or two before somebody else grabs you.
Right, yeah. And that guy couldn't afford him. The second guy couldn't afford him. Says, look, and he didn't have a spot. He would have had to fire somebody to bring him on.
To put him in, yeah.
And then he ended up at Hendrick. And
best thing that ever happened to him.
Best thing that ever happened. And I'll tell you what, his cars won. They were competitive. And I believe he's with the 5 car at Hendrick. But they all, if he's working on one, he's working on them all, because that's how it is. And I'll tell you what, he's older than me, and I'm old. So
yeah, exactly.
He's got to be retiring soon. He's got to be retiring. So, Tommy, thanks for the memories and all that. We're not trying to push you out. I know once in a while you watch this.
Yeah, no, he's definitely one of the local heroes here, for sure.
Yeah, but anyway, the icebreaker at Thompson Motorsports Park. Only sad part, first icebreaker in memory that the Wheeling Modified Tour was not a part of, because Thompson is into other things. They're into road courses, they're into renting the track. They only have a handful of NASCAR events scheduled, but they had their icebreaker, and it looks like this. The Sunoco Mods was won by Keith Rocco. The NEMA Lights were Bobby Santos III. The Pro All-Star Series was run by Derek Griffith. The Open Street Stocks, Paul Newcomb. The Act Type Late Models run by Tom Carey III. The Limited Sportsmen was run by Lawrence Barnett. The SK Light was run by Anthony Bello. And the Tour Type Modified was won by Ronnie Silk, with a payoff of $10,000 for the victory. The Wheeling Modified Tour winner at the icebreak was lucky to clear $7,000, if I'm not mistaken, and that was one of the higher paying races.
That was a big number.
That was a big number.
And Ronnie Silk had a pit road penalty.
Yes.
And was last, and still won that race.
Yes, he did.
And as my father used to say, Chicky shows.
Yeah.
That's it. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be, right?
That's it. And I've always said, look at Denny Hamlin at Martinsville. Led 274 laps.
Unbelievable.
But he didn't lead the last one.
It's the most important lap.
That is the most important lap to be led.
And one of my crew guys is on Denny Hamlin's crew.
Yes. Yeah. And you taught that guy a lot of stuff.
That's right. He wanted to learn how to work on race cars. There you go. Have at it.
Thanks, Chuck.
Who?
If you,
Nah, he's a good guy.
He is a good guy.
I remember that. Matter of fact, going back to sitting in a hauler at Pocono, it's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Sitting in a hauler at Pocono for another race, and of course, we wound up drinking at like 5 o'clock in the morning. That was not a good thing.
You started at 5 in the morning?
Oh, we started at 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Sometimes at Martinsville at the Dutch Inn, we were ending at 5 in the morning and had to be at the track at
No,
6.
but we didn't finish the night before.
Oh.
But I mean, we started, we took a nap, and then we started again at 5.
Yep.
I was totally out of it, and they're like, "Hey, somebody's here to see you." I'm like, "Get away from me!" No, come on, get up. Somebody's here to see you. I'm like, "No, come on." They came all the way from Long Island to see you. I'm like, "No, they didn't." And it was this guy. He's like, "I want to work on your car. Whenever you race, I'll work on your car."
Yeah. No. Anyway, hey, last week when we were wrapping up, there was some confusion on my part, my mess up, about the next gen cars of 2022. So I went to the NASCAR little page of things, and
They're not gonna use fuel anymore. It's gonna be like a sailboard. They're gonna use a sail.
So here's what we got. Here's what the car is going to be. Improved aero and downforce packages based on the track. The engines will be a 5.86 liter V8, which equates to about 358 cubic inches. It may include hybrid technology with a naturally aspirated FR layout. I have no idea.
Front wheel. That's rear wheel drive.
Okay. Thank you. I couldn't figure that out.
FR layout is rear wheel drive.
Okay, see? We work well together. The car will be 3,400 pounds minimum with a full tank of fuel in the driver. Fuel will be Sunoco Green E15. Never heard of that, but that's what it said.
Yeah, that's the stuff you buy at these gas stations. These Echo.
So it's like the E85
Echo
juiced
fuel.
up?
The car, if you listen to it, what I heard, it sounds different than what you used to.
Okay.
Probably because of the octane on it.
Gotcha. It'll have independent rear suspension. 15-inch wheels will now become 18-inch wheels. Single lug design like in Formula One.
Are they going to have spinners
Spinners?
on the wheels?
No.
Like the car's doing 200 miles an hour, but the rims are just standing still?
No.
Oh,
It's going to affect
bummer.
the weight.
18-inch tires.
And they're going to be aluminum instead of steel.
That I don't like.
Either way.
That's
I
a
don't
lot
think
of that's a lot of miles per hour for aluminum wheels.
And a lot of torque and a lot of downforce.
Yeah.
And
Accidents that you're gonna be
center hubs are going to be breaking.
Yeah, you're gonna be snapping
Just
the hubs
saying.
off my tank.
They're going to fuel the cars with a hose and not that gas can thing, And they're going to go to a rack and pinion steering instead of the
Drag link.
right. So the right, but
I
modified.
like the rack idea. I like
I
the
do
rack
too.
idea. I don't like the going from the can though. That's really
Yeah.
that's old school look.
It
I
is.
like that.
It is.
It's safer. I get it with the hose, kinda, but
But a rack and pinion. The first time I drove a rack and pinion car was on the modified, and I did notice to me there was a big
Smooth.
difference. Oh my God, it was.
smoother.
But the only problem that I see, if you bump wheels,
They're gonna bend. Well, so the drag link bends too.
it's gonna bend.
really
at
does.
the weakest point, and that's the rack and the pinion.
Yeah. Well, the drag. I don't know about the rack, but I know the drag links. They don't take a lot of bumping and grinding. You rub wheels, and they're gonna bend on you.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I mean, so that's like one of those old, techniques.
Yeah.
You get up against the guy and kind of hit him in the front tires just to knock his toe out or in.
Yeah.
Because those drag links, the way they're bent, the weak link is everywhere they're bent.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is take a little bit of a, little zip and you bend it and it's out.
Yeah.
It doesn't
It's-
take much. It really doesn't.
No.
Matter of fact, I just moved about a dozen of the things,
Did you?
brand new ones,
Yeah.
in the bag because we used to go through them like water.
Yeah.
It's like every week we'd toss another drag link on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's. I just wanted to clear that up because I was misinformed. I wasn't misinformed. There was Steve O'Donnell, who is the vice president of NASCAR, is talking about that in future gens is going with the electric car because Ford, General Motors, Toyota, and whatever else is
By
going to come into the-
2026, they got to be electric anyway, right?
Yeah.
Now, the other end of this coin also is that I wonder, because green technology gets you a lot of government rebates. Just the fact that you're moving towards a green technology.
Yeah.
So I wonder if NASCAR is getting millions of dollars because of this green, they're moving racing towards
That
a
could
green
be.
technology. Even with the fuel, that's considered the eco-fuel, it's considered
Right.
green technology.
Yeah,
So.
so, you know. And I didn't want to start the show off with some bad news, but we're going to come, as we're closing, we want to wish the family of Mike Iwanitzko our prayers and well wishes on the passing of his dad, Lou, Big Lou Iwanitzko, who was very instrumental in his son's racing career, which unfortunately was shortened by an illness. But I'm going to share a Lou Iwanitzko story. The first time I went to Martinsville, I had the late Ira Bromley, who was very involved with racing on Long Island. I'm going to say 3/4 of the race cars at Ister Speedway had a decal on it that said "Parts by Ira," because he gave people parts. So, off to Martinsville, he tells me where to stay. He goes, "That's my hotel. You tell the guy you're my friend, he'll get your room." And he did. And my wife at the time and I, we went out to dinner, had a couple of drinks, we come back. Now, Lou Iwanitzko and his team and the teams he drove down with, it was a motel, and it had a 2-story building here, a 2-story building here, and a 2-story building here. Louis' group had 2 of the buildings. They had the parking lot cordoned off, and I had my Long Island racing shirt on, whatever it was, and he knew my face from seeing me, and I knew him because of his son was one of the top runners. And they had food for as far as you could see in this parking lot. Big Lou's at the big barbecue thing, 55-gallon drum. He's flipping the meats and whatever they had. And he said, "You don't go buy dinner when I'm here. This is what we do. We take care of our guys, and you're one of our guys." And I never forgot that. You know, I never forgot that. And, you know, Mike his son was sponsored by Mutual Engraving in Hempstead, Long Island. That was his dad's place. And Mike always had the best of equipment and always did well. So, you know, Lou, we're going to miss you, but I'm sure there's some team up at Heaven Motor Speedway that could use your help and advice. So, and Mike, your family, our prayers go out to you on such a loss. And unfortunately, it was Mike's birthday yesterday, and his dad passed 2 days before. So
That's a shame.
Your dad would have wanted you to party hardy. Trust me.
Yep.
Trust me. And I'm sure you know that. So, but what are you going to do? Life goes on. Life goes on.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't want to start off with that because we went through a period every week it was somebody.
Yeah, it's been a tough year. Last year has been a
Last year,
tough year.
2020 was not a good one.
It's been a tough one,
So-
for sure.
I think we had a couple of minutes left, so yeah, we're getting the okay. We're getting the okay. And while I'm going to utilize this next couple of minutes, we have marketing opportunities for you. As you know, we've been around for quite some time. In fact, show 450 will be in 2 weeks. 450 shows.
That's a lot of shows.
Yeah. It's a
How
lot
many
of
years
shows.
is that?
It's actually
9 years?
9 years, because we had some periods that we didn't have a show. Holidays the way they fell, especially with the Monday holidays, and then COVID hit us, and we missed a bunch of shows, and we had some other situations we missed a bunch of shows. But I actually sat and calculated today, and 2 weeks from now it'll be show 400.
In 6 years, we're going to have 450. No. That's a lot of shows.
A lot of shows.
So how much money does it take to put those shows on?
Well.
Wait, I got it in my phone. You want to see?
Yeah. But really, we do have some marketing opportunities for our businesses that want to.
Businesses and friends that want to advertise, absolutely.
You're part of us, and I'll tell you, and I just had a conversation with somebody about this just the other day, that we're looking to sponsor a race car. And not that I want to take a sponsorship from a local race car driver, but think about how many people in the seats at a normal weekly racing series racetrack. not thousands and thousands. Maybe 1,700, whatever. And I'm not picking on any single one racetrack, but I've been to a lot of racetracks, and a lot of racetracks have a lot of empty seats. And as a business owner myself, and I'm going to sponsor a race car, I want to get a bang for that buck. So when let's say my car that I'm sponsoring wins the race, and they got the victory lane pictures back when they did it, in some tracks doing it on the racetrack, and there's nobody in the grandstands, or that part of the grandstands, or it's empty grandstands. I'm not getting that bang for my buck in my eyes. And even towing down the expressway or I-95 or the Jersey Turnpike, who's driving down the turnpike? Wow, there's Acme Corporation. When we get home, call them up. We're going to buy something. No. But you get a show like this. We're live. We have a lot of viewers. And at the end of the week, over 20,000 people have watched our show.
Yeah, we're pretty much between 80 and 100,000 a month.
Yeah. So,
as scary as that may be.
So if you want to get
how many people want to listen to us?
I'm amazed. But I'll tell you, there's a return on that, and the ROI, the return on your investment or your sponsorship dollar, and race fans are loyal. And I'll tell you what, and I just had this conversation with somebody a week or so ago. Am I going to buy more M&Ms because I see it on a race car? Yeah, you might. You might buy a Snickers bar because you saw it on a race car. So race fans are loyal to their sponsors. So if you know somebody out there that is looking to get involved, let us know. Maybe we'll
do a sponsor a lap.
Yeah.
Sponsor a minute on the show. That'd be funny.
So,
everybody seems to buy laps.
Everybody buys laps. Raffles.
How much do they sell laps for?
$25.
Really, for a lap?
Yeah, for
to sponsor a lap.
And I just did a late model raffle for $100. He sold 130 raffles for $100.
Wow.
And
that's pretty good.
And it was.
Was that to win the late model?
That was to get the late model, and he just picked the balls out of the thing one by one. Okay, number 99, and there was 10 left, and I was still in the bucket. And I said that I was still in the bucket. Number 37, Joe Lawson, you're out. I was this close to owning a late model. Yeah.
And we know that's illegal, but
yeah,
because you can't do that.
No, but anyway,
can't do raffles.
No. So I want to thank everybody, and I hope everybody had a nice holiday week, whether it's Easter or Passover and whatnot. But
absolutely,
I know I did.
Yeah, we did
last week, and
it was nice.
It was all good.
You had a good birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I want to.
He's 54 now.
54. Yeah.
So he's looking forward to next year when he hits the double nickels.
Yeah. No, it's 63. Everybody, 63. So I want to thank everybody who shared in on my birthday, whether you called, texted, messaged, came to dinner, whatever. Thank you. It was good.
Put a bag of poop on his doorstep, whatever,
Everything, whatever. I got a ring, so I know it was you. I know who did it. Anyway, thanks a lot, everybody. Wherever your endeavors are going to bring you this week, please be safe. Please be careful. We'll see you next Monday.
Take care.
Good night.
Inravio.com.